So the video that you're about to see is an example of how I would handle a parent-teacher conference as a future teacher. So basically, the premise of the story is that McKenna is a fourth grader in my class, and she's at Myers Elementary, the same school that I did my portfolio on. And I've called her parents in around Halloween to talk about some recurring behaviors that I have witnessed and observed from her that regard like bullying. So she's kind of a bully. She's been becoming isolated from her class because she's ganging up on all of the girls. Those are her targets, not one specific, just all of them. And in the beginning of the year, like back in September, I had initially met with her parents to talk about this, and we decided that we were going to come up with a behavior contract, which looked like this. And we're going to check back weekly on this, and if she adheres to this, then we wouldn't need another conference. If she doesn't, then we would need to continue looking for help for her. So we're at the point where the behavior contract isn't really working, so that's why we have decided to come in and talk about future steps, which will be my recommendation, you will see, will be to seek outside help, such as a counselor. And throughout the course of the video, you'll learn some interesting things about McKenna's family, maybe some reasons that contribute to her recent spontaneous behavior, as she didn't have a past as a bully. Some things that you would want to know is that both her parents are together. She's the middle of two girls, but she has a baby sister who her parents had just adopted, who has spina bifida, which is a very serious medical condition, and that has put kind of like a restraint on her parents' time and attention for her. Her mom has stopped working, but is primarily focusing on Claire, the new baby, and so her older sister Sophia has taken on a lot of the roles in the house. So that's pretty much the deal, and yes, I hope that you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for my reflection, which will be coming as a Word document in the Canvas tab.
Hi. How are you,
Jocelyn Martone. Nice to see you again.
Sam
Here,
Martone.
this is for
I'm
you.
Gary.
Hi, Gary. Thanks
Nice
for
to
coming
meet
in this morning. Oh,
Yeah.
you didn't have to do that. That was so sweet.
Oh,
my
we
gosh.
know you like
Oh,
it.
I do. I'm every teacher. You know how that goes.
You earned it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
How are
you've
you
earned
both this morning?
All right.
We're well, thanks.
Thanks for coming in so early. Yes.
Oh, we don't mind. We don't
Are you off to work? I'm sure.
mind. After this, we'll go. But I no hurry. I have time.
Okay, great. What do you do?
Oh, I work in the industry section of industry.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That
Yeah.
must be fun. And
Yeah, it's good. It's very industrious. We like to say in the business.
Great. That's awesome. Wow. And how about you, Jocelyn?
Yes, well, my career is in marketing, but I've taken some time off. I don't know if McKenna's mentioned it. We've had a
Baby.
few, yes.
Yes, she has. Yes, I remember talking with you at back to school night
Yes.
also about the recent adjustments in your
There
family.
have been a few adjustments, yes. But I think things are going really well, but we appreciate, all you're doing with McKenna.
Yeah.
She's got a few hiccups, I think.
Well,
and
she's great.
just-
First of all, let me just say you have an incredibly bright daughter. She, I find her so engaged in, especially like the structure, and she does love routine, and she does very well in group work. And but thank you for coming in this morning, because I know we had talked at the beginning of the month of September, right after back to school night, I think, about some of the behavioral things that I was noticing in the classroom regarding her treatment of the other girls in the class. And I think what we left it on back in September is that we were going to start the behavior contract, and
Yes, and we've been seeing that come.
yes. So if you remember, the idea was if she adhered to the policies that we had outlined here, if you remember thinking before she acted, trying to speak to her friends nicely, and doing her best to treat
This is
people
McKenna.
kindly.
She filled this out.
McKenna filled this out with my help,
Right.
but this is all her. And then, as you remember, your wife Jocelyn signed it right in the beginning of September, and we were going to check back every Friday about behavior. And when she doesn't adhere to her guidelines.
I've heard about it. Can I
Absolutely,
take a look
absolutely.
at it?
Yeah. Of course. Any questions,
And you were
please?
just you and her. She wasn't doing this around the classroom.
No. We did this. So I mentioned and you both know how strong she is in math. So during our math flex time, which is the extra period that we have for any students who might need remedial help, we worked on this together separately at the back table. So it wasn't isolating at all for the other students to see her
Right.
in this capacity. But I'm sure you've been seeing it because it's been sent home a little bit more frequently. due to her not adhering to the goals that we
Yes.
initially outlined, and that was one of the consequences outlined
Mhm,
if she didn't check those boxes by the end of the week.
And you remember, honey, I talked to you about this. I
No,
know
no,
that she's
no, no,
not-
no. I recall.
it's-
All right. Okay. Well, yes. Yeah. Okay.
And the behaviors that you're discussing, I have to be honest, we are seeing some similar things at home with her older sister. She's having some
Oh.
issues.
Okay, remind me what her name is.
Sophia.
Sophia. And Sophia, what was it? She was in seventh
Yes,
seventh
she's in
grade.
seventh
Seventh
grade,
grade.
yes.
Okay, so a few
She's
years
in middle
older.
school, yes.
Okay. What kind of behaviors are you noticing there?
Well, it's, just having difficulties getting along. It's typical sibling rivalry, but I think some of it, I don't know. I feel like it's escalated recently, and I don't know. It could be because of, the recent change in our family structure
Yeah.
with Claire coming to our family, and we all love her so much, but she has a lot of needs, and our focus, we want to spread out our time and attention and energy on all three of the girls, but I mean, Claire does require some specific needs, and that she has several appointments a week, and I've had to take some time off from work to deal
Okay.
with that,
Okay.
and it's been challenging, to say the least, though everybody is embracing her. I mean, we love her. She's been such a wonderful addition to our family, and she's a joy. She really is. And McKenna feels the same way.
Mhm.
I mean, she engages really beautifully with her, but I don't know. Do you think that some of this could have something to do with the behaviors that we're seeing?
Well, I think that because of the nature of your family and how you recently adopted Claire over last summer,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
coming into fourth grade, this is McKenna's first year with the baby sister.
Well, yeah, it happened last spring, but everything wasn't settled, and
The
she
paperwork.
hadn't been. She did not move in until the beginning of June, so it was all
So she knew about it throughout
relatively-
third grade.
Yes.
Because I have to, in all honesty, I did speak with her third grade teacher about my observations through my notes, and feel free to take a look at these. They're dated. I do them about weekly, just kind of some of the observations I've been seeing. From what I understand, she mostly targets the girls in the class. But I have to
How
think
so?
that...
How so?
Well, I see her, as I mentioned before, she's great in structured times. She engages well with the other children, and she is great when it's organized. However, when there's certain sections of free time, maybe they can choose their own activity during centers or in recess, I have noticed that she tends to single out some of the girls and targets them on aesthetics, so there might be comments about their looks. I know she's a beautiful girl, and from what I understand, fairly athletic. I know she's involved in sports.
She's on the field hockey team.
Okay.
I mean,
Well, that's great.
She enjoys that. And
Yeah.
I
But isn't this behavior normally associated with a group of girls against another group of girls?
Yes, and that's where
Isn't
my
that what
that's
generally happens?
yes. Well, I can't speak for all fourth graders because every child is different, but from what I've noticed, and the
Cliques, okay. I'm thinking
cliques,
cliques.
cliques are of nature of the fourth
Right.
grade nature,
Right,
yes,
right.
especially in girls.
Especially in girls at this age.
Which is interesting because my observations have deviated from that typical norm of this age. It is McKenna versus the other girls in some capacities.
So she's
Whoop.
pitting herself against the rest of the group.
Are the other girls, have they formed? Like, you as a teacher would notice that, some girls hang with
Yes.
other girls. Are there cliques that in the group that McKenna feels that she can't join and or feels that they're all against her?
I do feel that might be what's starting to happen now that we've kind of approached the Halloween. We're like in the middle of the first quarter, towards the end of the first quarter, and I do think that's what I do think that the girls are starting to notice and starting to maybe kind of form an alliance against. They're
Is she
coming
alienated?
they're
They're
coming
excluding
closer.
her.
I think
is
that
she
they're.
alienated?
I do think that
Is she
she's
a
alienated,
pariah?
yes.
Is she out of the
Yes.
the-
Yes.
the-
As of from what I've seen.
do you get this from the boys as well? Do you sense that they're
No.
signing on to this?
No, I have not seen any of these behaviors exhibited by any of the boys in our class,
Right.
which isn't unusual for fourth grade. Girls do mature earlier, and this kind of behavior is seen earlier in girls than boys. But as you can see, there are several instances here at recess where other teachers have also mentioned to me
Do you want to take a look?
some
at
of
Yeah.
the behaviors, the verbal aggression. But going back to your initial question, there is a chance that sometimes when children of this elementary school age come in with new siblings as they're older, especially in like an adoption situation like yours, and adding on who's the spina bifida?
Mm-hmm.
She has Claire has spina bifida.
Here's
Yes.
kind of different.
Okay, so I'm sure that is taxing on everyone in the
It's
family.
management.
It
Yes,
is.
It has to be
yes, and
managed.
there's a lot of strategy, and I'm sure that Sophia has been taking care of.
Yeah,
McKenna
well,
a
we
little
have,
more.
yeah,
The
we have
roles
asked
have-
her to step
the
up a
roles
little
have
bit,
shifted.
and she has a lot of responsibilities
I'm sure.
that are new to her. Though it's appropriate
She's
for a
very.
seventh grader.
I had her, and she was wonderful also. As is McKenna. As is McKenna. What I'm concerned about though is that I don't want the school year to progress without these behaviors being
No, and
recognized.
her social life is very important,
Yes.
Well,
especially at
what's
this
the
age, right?
recommendation?
Yeah.
What, I mean, all right,
How
we,
can-
we are in
how can
agreement
we
that
help?
this
We're
is.
in
Yeah.
agreement.
We're in
here.
agreement this is happening. We're not the parents who are going to be here and say, no, this is not
And I
our
appreciate
McKenna.
that.
We are on the team that
And
maybe
we-
this is our McKenna. No, we need
As a
God.
result of
What
the
can we do?
circumstances, though, this isn't McKenna.
No,
This
true.
is
Okay, fair
McKenna
enough.
reacting to the circumstances
fair
of
enough,
her
fair
life
enough.
right now, which
These are choices
Can
that she
be-
didn't.
What is your
really didn't have control.
what is your
I know.
advice? What is your advice?
Well-
How can you advise us to lead the three of us in a better direction?
How can we help her?
I think personally, because of the consistent nature of this, now that I know it's happening at home and I'm seeing it happen in school, it's obvious that she's struggling. She's struggling. And in this situation, as with any other where there's maybe a physical struggle, this I do think would be mediated or maybe improved a little bit if she sought out some additional support. I don't know, do you have any support? I'm sure that this is taking a toll
We're
on
talking
your
about
life as well.
therapy.
Yeah.
Is that what we're talking about?
I'm initially talking, yes, I do think that some sort of counseling would be beneficial in this
Okay.
circumstance. I'm thinking
Not school based.
I-
There isn't
well,
a school therapist.
there is a school counselor, and I've spoken to her briefly about the situation, let her know that I was meeting with you guys this morning. I'd be more than happy to refer you to her, to put you in contact,
All right, here's my
to set up
concern.
something
Here's
else.
my concern about that.
Yeah.
If it's a school therapist situation,
And the other kids.
and the other
Yes.
kids learn about it, that she's seen a school therapist, this will not go well
No,
for
it
us.
will not.
It will not go well.
No, it
for
will
us.
not. You're very
so,
right.
So I suggest that if we're going to do the therapy option, and we agree to
Maybe
do the
we do
therapy
it.
option, we must
Yeah.
do it outside of
Privately,
school.
yeah.
That has worked for a lot of students, I will be honest with you, and that is a route that a lot of parents do take because of the social isolation that can come with therapy. I will just suggest, if you are interested in pursuing the school-based counseling, we could do it during one of these math flex times that I worked with McKenna on the behavior contract with.
No, I don't know what Max Flex is. I'm
So
not-
Math Flex is a block of every Friday that we reserve for students who might need remedial help in math.
Which
so
she does not.
she does not. She's helping the other children
Okay.
in math.
But
It's
that could be a good thing.
that is a good thing, and one of her rewards is to go down and help second graders with the multiplication facts, and she loves that. She
Okay.
thrives off of this. She's a helpful child, and I do think that she
She's trying to tell us something.
is trying to tell you something here. So if you were to pursue the school-based counseling, that would be when we were doing it. That way she's getting taken out, where there's a period where everyone's looking at her. You know, everyone's doing their own thing during Math Flex, and that could be the thing that she's doing there. But I do completely understand if you feel that outside support would be most beneficial for McKenna.
I mean, I do think what you're saying is important because we don't want to make her any more different or separated from the group.
No,
So,
that may be enough of that going on right now.
Yeah.
So what I will do is I will reach out to the school counselor and ask for some outside referrals from her. People who
that
have
would be helpful.
other
'cause I
students-
guess we could go to the pediatrician and ask
That's
them.
another choice. That's another choice. Once again, I'm not in any way a mental health professional. I don't specialize in this, but because of how
Well, you spend a good portion
I spend
of
a
each
lot of
day
time
with her,
with
so we
McKenna.
appreciate your
and
input.
and you spent a lot. Let me hear your opinion on this. You spent a lot of time with other classrooms coming up into this. This is not your first go around at this.
no.
So, how?
In your experience,
Yeah, in
yeah,
your
how does
experience,
this-
how usual or uncommon or what's your prognosis for how this is probably going to go?
Well, in my experience, I've been teaching fourth grade for 5 years now, and I love the age, but there are also some different
Well,
tribulations that come with being 9
Challenging
and
time,
10.
Right.
Yes, and you've lived it with Sophia.
Mhm.
But generally, we do start to see these behaviors, especially the bullying, the social isolation, coming out in the beginning of fourth grade. And it could be due to a variety of things: low self-esteem, problems at home.
Indeed.
changes
Now,
in
will
the
these
house.
things? All right. She's
These
fourth grade.
things-
Are they gone by sixth grade? Because
Generally-
again,
Yeah, that's
the
another-
process, the body, everything's changing, and then
Yes. Well,
was she like this last year? Did
no,
it?
as I mentioned before, I talked to her third grade teacher, and she wasn't experiencing any of this last year, which does make me think that it is circumstantial,
Right.
and that I do think that in this stage of McKenna's journey, I think that getting on top of this is key.
We really appreciate
Proactiveness
that.
is key
Yes.
here, and we're seeing this. It's October. We have
It's early.
7 months left of the school year. I think that if we get her the help that she needs, and that could even be short term, maybe you spending some extra one-on-one time with her at home.
It could be attention seeking.
It could be
really
attention
could be.
seeking.
All right.
Because
okay.
a lot of our
All right.
attention has been diverted.
Yes,
And-
and as it should be with a new baby, and that is a wonderful addition to your family. But at this point, yeah, I do think that McKenna
Could
spent
be.
the first 8 years of her life being the baby,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's
now
true.
there's a new baby, and and she's at such a critical point in her developmental journey. I'm sure
All of them are.
Yes,
All of
yes.
them are. So we really appreciate you bringing this to our
Yes.
attention.
Yeah,
So
thank
I
you.
think is there any other questions? Once again, I am so optimistic that this will begin to subside with getting the help that she needs.
Will we be continuing with the behavior contract? I
Yes.
feel like though we haven't seen a lot of improvement, maybe if we implement this other part, the therapeutic part, do you think that we'll start to see a little change in her compliance to the contract?
What I think right now is consistency in McKenna's schedule is key. So I
Mhm.
think that if we remove the behavior contract after this conference, then she might think that the behavior has subsided.
Okay. I
Or
agree.
she might
Yeah, we're
think
sending her
that
a
this is
different
another
message.
inconsistent
Mm.
point in her
Right.
life where I would like the behavior chart to,
And that was
maintain.
attention from you and attention from us, even though.
and
Yeah,
if it
it was-
disappears after this conference, she might think that the behaviors are now acceptable now that we're all on the same page
Good
about
point.
them. So I
Thank you.
would like this, and once I reach out to the counselor, and I will follow up with an email, probably likely tonight or tomorrow morning, with the referrals for the counselors outside of the therapists outside of the district. I will likely we will loop her in on the behavior chart too, so she knows that this is implemented in the classroom.
Okay.
And if you have some sort of incentive program at home, I don't know. She does seem to be really motivated by the positive emails that I can send home to you when she checks off these 3 boxes, and also the helping second grade,
Mhm.
helping second grades in that.
Well, they
point.
do have
She's-
chores at home, but
she's
there's been a lot of
motivated.
bickering about
I'm
them
sure, yes, and it's
recently.
I do really believe in my experience that this is all circumstantial, and it will end. It will begin. It will improve. These things, they come in waves, and this will improve. And she's a wonderful girl who has a lot to offer to our classroom, and I just want to help her to be the best that she can be.
Well, we thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Of
I really
course.
just
Alright.
thought this was at home. I didn't realize that it was
No.
carrying
And
over
that's
so much
why
into the classroom.
Once
so
we
thank
started
you.
after the first 6 weeks, and we were kind of in contact briefly over the
Thank
phone, and I just wanted to double check and make sure we're all on the same page here. Do you have any questions for me before you leave?
Do you have any questions? No.
I think we're okay.
Yeah.
I
think
think
she's
I
in
might
good
like a
hands,
few of
yeah.
those empty forms for other family members.
I actually have some. Oh, I have some. Do you want
I
some?
like this idea of
I-
behavior,
Yeah.
Contracting and
Yeah,
being
like
responsible
maybe-
for your
Maybe I
Yes.
could
choices.
give you
Here, take
one.
some,
Maybe
take
I could
some.
give
Give a few-
my brother one. Maybe I could.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe
Yes.
these
Yes.
these behavior contracts is what we really want.
This could
Oh
be good.
my
Thank you
gosh.
so
Yes.
much.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
thank
has been
you so
delightful.
much.
And
Thank you
we
for your
feel like
support.
there's progress ahead. That's what we feel.
Seriously,
Yes.
anything you need, I'm here. I'm a phone call away. You have my email, my phone number. I will follow up tonight.
And
with
let
the-
us know if anything else escalates, please.
Oh, absolutely.
And
like
we'll
I
look
said, I
forward
will.
to seeing this
I will
on a weekly
continue.
basis.
Yes, I will continue with the notes, and I do that. And I want to just assure you, I do this with all of my students, anecdotal notes for everyone. And I will continue the behavior contract, and we'll be updating you accordingly.
All right.
Okay. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
your
so
time
much.
today.
Oh my
We
gosh,
really
thank
appreciate
you.
it.
This will get better.
This will get better.
Yes. Tell Claire and Sophia I say hello.
We
Yes.
will.
Yes.
Bye.
Have a great rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
See ya.
Thanks for taking such good care of McKenna.
Maybe I should pick up my clothes if you.
Mm.
Maybe.
That's a good plan. Thank you.